Hi everyone, this is Dana Reynolds with Master Cut Gems. Not only am I a gem cutter, I'm also a polisher of Japanese samurai swords. I started probably about 12 years ago, and having a background in metallurgy and tool and die making plus gem cutting kind of went hand in hand with polishing swords. I had to take the economical route because I couldn't afford a $4,000 blade that I saw in the museums and some of the other ones going up for, $100,000, $150,000. So I had to take the economical approach and learn how to polish myself and buy swords that most people would not pay to get polished. That way I could do two things. I could restore a blade to hopefully its original condition and to honor the swordsmith who made it, without it being obscured in history and rusting away to nothing. So that's how I started. I normally buy blades from people that I know. Some of the blades are like this, very poor condition, but somewhere in around the 1700s era blades. And hopefully, after many hours of polishing, they will look like this. So this is my way of being able to restore these swords back to their original condition without them being lost in history, and me being able to afford it and pass the savings on to the people who buy the swords that I polish. I do pretty much everything. I bought my stones from Namikawa about 10, 11 years ago. I have probably somewhere in the neighborhood of probably $2,000 to $3,000 worth of Japanese sword books. All of these are necessary to know the smiths if it's signed, and also to know the era of the blade as well as what the smith did, how his blades were shaped, many different aspects of the geometry. I know that a lot of the purist Nihonto collectors frown on people such as myself polishing samurai blades. But in all reality, they nor anyone else will spend the time and money on many of these unnamed blades in the condition that they are to restore them back to their proper place and condition. So I take it very seriously. I will not polish a blade that I feel is some type of historical treasure, but when I do polish a blade, I do everything in my ability to make sure that I honor the smith in which made it. So, that being said, hopefully Rochelle will take care of doing the filming of this. I will show you as I go along how I go about polishing Japanese sword. And I also do the seiya as well as suka and the wrapping and things of that nature. Try to stay as traditional as possible in all manners of restoration. It's a long, drawn-out procedure, and it is very time-consuming. Rochelle can take a photo of my bench. I used to do it the traditional way, but as you get past 50 years old, it's very hard to get down in that crouched, kneeling position for long periods of time. This is the bench that my dad built for me, Frank Reynolds. He's a woodworker. This right here was the original pallet that I actually did the traditional own. I built that, and I got tired of it. So my dad came up with the cobbler bench style that a shoe cobbler would use. And then of course I attach my stones that I get from Namikawa onto my wooden device, and then I attach them to the block. It's very user-friendly. I got my little place to set my legs. I got my place to be comfortable. I have my water and my halogen lighting so I can see the scratches from the previous stone. And I'm comfortable, and I can keep the geometry of the blade and get the short, coarse lines. This particular stone here is a Kamanagura. It's probably 3 stones back from being complete as far as doing the bench stones. It comes after Chunagura. This is a mine stone. This is one I've had for several years. It's a good hard stone, and they're getting harder and harder to come by because they are natural mine stones from Japan. Rochelle will show you in a little while my bench of swords that I have in progress. This particular is a Tonto. Oh, probably looking at the age, tang, and everything, probably somewhere from 1600s, something to that effect. It is getting a little tired, as you can tell, but I'm a minimalist. I know that you cannot put metal back on once you take it off, so I'll try to remove as much of the rust and the chips as possible without interfering with the integrity of the blade or getting through the steel to get shingani or core steel, which would not be beneficial to the blade. I try to do as much as I can to preserve the blades as much as possible. This right here is my water. Of course, this is a water stone, and you'll use a lot of water. And at this particular stage, I am running parallel with the cutting edge or the ha of the blade. Like I said, I have probably 6 blades that are all in position. They are getting this stone, and it's getting past the time of changing any of the geometry or taking out chips. This is getting into the final stages of polishing. That's pretty much it for now. All I want to do is just give you a brief rundown of what I do and give you an idea of how I do these things, because it is a long drawn out process. So we're going to mix this up with gem cutting, cabbing, the gardening, as well as the many other things that we do to give you an idea of what all we do at Master Cut Gems. It is interesting to say the least. So that's it for this, and Rochelle will show you my workbench as far as the things that I have in line to be polished, so you'll have an idea of what I'm doing. Like I said, this is a long drawn out procedure, so we won't get into any polishing this evening, but when I do start, I will start you out with the core stones, and we'll try to do a segment of each stone as we progressively move through the polishing stage. Okay, this right here is how I attach the stone to this apparatus. This was actually about a 4x4 block that is attached to this base and also to the bench itself. It is on an incline, probably about somewhere in the neighborhood of a 25 to 30 degrees. Block of wood, 2 holes drilled that secures it down to keep everything sturdy. Then I use Gorilla Glue because it really works good and it sticks, and I've never had a stone come off.
And is that a product that's only available in the U.S. or can international
no,
people buy that?
The only thing that is international are the stones. Everything else you get from the USA. As far as the magnolia or hoe wood that they use for the suka, which is the handle and the saya, it's a tulip poplar. It's a magnolia. The tulip poplar is very similar. Also, basswood can be used. They do not have sap or resins that will cause rusting to the steel itself as far as a reaction. But as far as the stones are concerned, I buy my stones from Namikawa, and I can go with man-made synthetic stones up until I get to the Bensui or the Kaisido, and from there all the way up I use natural stones because it just gives a better finish. To me, that's just my opinion. I've used both, and I like the natural much better. But that's how it is attached. This is a Chunagura. This is a natural mindstone. This is the stone prior to this one. I've got several small ones, and I've got a large one ordered. I like the larger ones. They work better. I'm more comfortable, and I have more surface area of steel that I work with. So that's how these are mounted. It's very simple design and everything, and it's just so much easier on your back and legs opposed to the traditional method. But that's basically how that's attached, and then of course you got bolts that bolt this down that keeps everything solid. And then of course everything's got a drain, so all the water that goes, it goes down, goes into a funnel, into a reservoir.
Okay, so tell me about your tubing.
Well,
all right,
the water comes down when you splash it and everything. This is on a slant. The water comes down, runs into here, runs down into the tubing, into a reservoir, which is your wastewater. Everything is wet. This right here catches anything that gets splashed off, and then it too has got a little trap there as well. So everything's kind of self-contained, but everything's wet. It's just you have to use a lot of water to polish stones because you got to keep wiping your polishing away, your media, your grit, everything has to be continuously washed away from the blade. So of course the light, you got to have good light because you have to see the prior scratches. You've got to be able to see if you're removing it, if you're getting all the way up to your Shinogi G line or anything like that. You just have to keep up with the geometry. You want everything to be sharp and crisp. But that's pretty much it as far as the workbench. Of course, a little cushion for the butt, and you know, because you're sitting there for a while, and it's very physical. It's a physical, which you'll see that in the coming videos. You'll see how physical it is to actually polish one of these blades. You'll get your exercise. Okay, and over here, this right here is my workstation. These are the Suba that go with the blades, also the Habakis and the Seppa, also the Fuchi and Kashiras that will be used on the Sukas for all these different blades. As you can see, all of them are getting into their stage of polish. This is in the Komanagura stage. Like I said, everything now, all the geometry has been set with the blades. Some things I could not remove. As you can see with this blade, it's got rust pits here and here, and a little one there. They are just too deep. If I were to take all the remnants of the deep pit rust out of this blade, I would be down to core steel, and it would be considered possibly a fatal flaw in the blade. And the Hammond is just so beautiful in this blade. I'd rather leave it like it is. It will just have to carry some of the little pitting that has been acquired over hundreds of years into the final blade. That's why I say I'm a minimalist. It won't be perfect, but it will show the hada of the steel as well as the Hammond, the shape that the smith had envisioned when he made the blade. Also, you know, it's not only the blades as far as the Tanto, Wakizashi, or Katana or Tachi. It's also the Yaris, the Naganatas, and some of the other ones that different shapes over the generations that were made. Rochelle's talking about the poor little old kitty cat drinking wash water. Poor thing. And then of course, you know, you got your fingerstone, all your fingerstone stuff. I've got all the Copa, probably 50 pounds of that, where you break and make your own little Hazuya and Jitsuya polishing stones. Your burnishers, your bamboo pegs for your handles, making the handles themselves. And then you'll wrap them with your Sammy, and then you'll go ahead and put your silk Ito on them, or your wrapping. It's just lots of little devices, lots of little things to do. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blades that are now in tow. The long katana is getting ready to go through the Komanagura, and then it will go from there to the Uchimagura. Depending on the era of the blade, you've got different Uchimagura stones. Then after that, then you would go to your finger stones and then burnishing, and should be finished. I try to make all my saya when I am at the middle of polishing. That way I can lay them in there and it won't scratch a finished polish job. That's it in a nutshell. Of course, you know, like I said, you've got all your books, you've got all your fundamentals. This is my man cave. Rochelle can take a picture of it to kind of give you an idea. This is my little home away from home down here. When I need to get away from the family, this is where I hide. So I can get in here and do my work. My fly tying station, my another faceter's bench over here, and of course the polishing of the Japanese sword. So this is just one of my little hobbies that I enjoy doing and love the rewards. It's nice. I've always loved blades and steel, so this is my chance to do what I feel like is my part of restoring some historical things that normally may have never ever had the time put to them to bring them back to as close as possible to their original splendor. That's it for now. Rochelle can take some pictures around so you got an idea of my little work area. Like I said, once again, I take it very seriously, and I would not want to do any more harm to one of these blades than I would a precious piece of gemstone rough. I take them both very seriously and want to make sure that when I do it as close to properly as I possibly can. That's it for now. I hope I haven't bored you with too much of my antics, and I look forward to sharing this craft for anybody that wants to get in and do it. Start out with something that's not precious, but yet, like I say with colored stones, start out with something that when you are finished that you would be proud of it, and that it will be part of your historical process in doing a particular craft. Be proud of what you do and take pride in your work and do it the best you can and study it before you do it. So, that being said, I will bid you adieu.